Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak to transportation professionals on this show, as well as my twice-a-week long-form podcast, because I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, so you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. What is up, Corey Buchan, TGIF, all he says, coming in over on LinkedIn, or excuse me, YouTube. Nick, my man, he says, let's go Big Chris. He's coming in over on LinkedIn there. Speaking of Nick Isabella's podcast episode just dropped this morning. So full transparency, I'm a one take kind of guy, right? Like I'll create content, I'll put it out there, and then I don't generally go back and listen to it because I am my own worst critic, and I will notice literally everything that I do and say wrong. That's kind of why I don't go back and listen to it. But I went back and listened to this one. And, Nick's got a great story, going out and starting his company up, and really getting behind the wheel and with his trucking company and traveling the country and doing all of that. And it was just, it was a great conversation. It really was. I would highly recommend everybody go out there and check them out. Check that episode out, iTunes and Spotify. And it is ready. It's ready. It's going to probably rock your world a little bit too. I'm going to be honest with you, because I had a really good time chatting with my man, Nick. But that being said, you guys, today is Q&A day. All right. So if you have any sales or operations related questions for the transportation industry, drop them in the chat. I will answer them live on the show. I got a couple of questions already queued up here for you guys that I am going to start with here. And sorry, guys, I got some freight to cover here. All right, hold on a second. I got some inbound calls coming in. 910-916. All right, perfect. All right, cool. Let me see here. Tracy St. Clair, good morning over on YouTube. John Paradise, what is up? Good morning to you. And Flo, what is up? Good morning and happy Friday to you. Hold on one sec. Sorry, guys. 1 second. All right, perfect. Anyways, you guys, first question is talking about carrier retention. They had sent over a message this week. It says, you're talking about carrier retention recently, and I want to improve on this. Where do I start? I always look at it like this. So it's funny that this question came through, and I was just checking LinkedIn quick before I went live. And I saw somebody post, and this really rang true for me, that this person had posted, I see everybody talking about when a driver is disrespectful to a receiver, but why don't we talk about all the times that brokers are disrespectful to carriers and curse at us and yell at us and treat us subhuman and all of those things? And there are always two sides to this, right? And a lot of people only see things through their lens, right? Most people only look at things as how it affects them personally. I've been that hothead in the industry, right? Like I've railroaded carriers before early on in my career. I've done all that, right? Literally everything that a broker is notorious for out there. I've done it some point in my career. It's unfortunate, but I've done it. But I've learned from it, right? Because at the end of the day, as a broker, how do you make money, right? By picking up your customers' freight. How do you pick up your customers' freight? With what? With trucks. So the fact that there's that much that just still goes on in this industry, I think is a positive. Now hear me out. It's a positive because if you don't act in that regard, think about how much opportunities you're going to have. If you're really concerned about carrier retention, what can you do as a broker to make a carrier look at you as a broker a choice? Look at you as that's the person who I want to book my freight with. Yeah, money's great. That's always a great start when you have a lot of money in a load that you can pay a carrier to haul that shipment. But what about this? How many times have you sent in a carrier knowing that it had a late appointment time, but you lied and said it was first come, first serve to get him to show up because it was a difficult to cover load? Or you failed on the load, they're working, they're working, that they're not going to get loaded right away, but you tell them they're first come, first serve. The list goes on and on and on. And I know you guys, there's multiple sides to this, but I'm only talking about what can you do differently. I always look at it from a short-term versus a long-term perspective, because I know in the long term, whether it's a day from now, 6 months from now, or 6 years from now, as a broker, I'm always going to need carriers. So I want to make it as seamless as possible for them, right? Like I was trained, I was trained how to do this job right. Okay. At the end of the day, call all the facilities, double check information, verify the product's ready, get ahead of it, find out, if it's a large warehouse, what door does the driver need to check in at? I'm all about efficiencies at the end of the day. Now, I wasn't always like this, but I would always ask, what more can you do? Okay. If you're a broker, what more can you do in that situation to make your freight more appealing? Because if you don't, and if you're going to continue to operate in that manner where, you're going to mistreat drivers, you're going to keep posting it for $1 a mile when we all know you don't have $1 a mile. Like you got more money to play with in it, but you want to make as much money as you possibly can. So you're going to try and push that rate down as much as you possibly can, which is a pretty standard tactic out there. It's going to change, you guys. The market is going to change. Your company will have a very challenging time covering freight if you are going to continue to act in that manner. Now, I just look at it like this. Take the high road, all right? Like there's no point, and out of all the hot-headed arguments I got in my career, they never worked out in my favor the more I yelled at somebody. Focus on a resolution, find that resolution, and move on. If a carrier is going to fall off the load, they're going to fall off the load. Why do you got to tell them to fuck themselves? Like really, why don't you just say, all right, get it recovered? That's literally all you need to do. I understand that you can be upset in those moments, but who benefits from that? So, from my perspective, if you're going to be a quality broker and you're going to be invested in carrier retention, doing your job is vital. Like I was just talking about, call all the facilities, call the shippers, call the receivers, verify everything, verify the weights, verify the product, verify literally anything you can think of, and let your carrier know, hey, it picks up here at 10 a.m. It's a 40,000 pounds of palletized bottled water. It's got to deliver the following morning at 6 a.m. It's a strict appointment time. There is going to be a lumper fee associated with that. It's generally going to be around $75, hypothetical example. If you have the money to pay for it, we will just send us the receipt. We will reimburse you for it. If you don't have the money for it, we can pay for it, but there is a small fee for paying said lumper fee, and we will get you reimbursed for it. We just need the receipt. Just take it a little bit differently, you guys. And then furthermore, when's the last time you asked a carrier how often they run those lanes? When's the last time you asked a carrier if they want the load again? Or is your initial thought, I'm going to go out there and find it for cheaper? I think so many people piss away so many quality relationships because they're only concerned about how do they get it for less? How do they get it for less? And I get it. You got to make money. I understand that. But brokers, we make our money in load volume. All right. Frankly, when it boils down to it, unless you're doing hyper specialized shit out there where you can make a decent chunk on one load, but again, you're putting a lot of time and effort into it. It's not like you can just quote some of these overdimensional loads and then you just post it up and then you just find carriers and then you don't have to do anything additional. There's a lot of extra effort that goes into there. So, from my perspective, and anytime somebody books a load with my company, and they do a great job, which the majority of the time they do because we pre-vet all of our carriers. We have actual, and you know how we do that? We have actual conversations with them. All right. It's not, it picks here, it delivers here. This is what it weighs. This is what it pays. We want to find out everything about that company. Do they run this lane often? Are they going to be there next week? When do they have this stuff? Because the majority of my customers ship more than one load in, and that's it, right? Like they're always out there. We're always needing to source capacity. I want to source the right carriers for my customers' freight, and I want to get that done. So from my perspective, if you want to be a broker of choice, which you're going to need to be a broker of choice coming up here, you guys, you're going to, because when this market flips, a lot of you are, to quote South Park, like I did the other day, you're going to have a bad time. Okay. So you can make that change though. You can start right now. You can be more prepared. You can be accommodating when they call in, get ahead of issues, just do your job. Really, that's what I don't know what else to do it. How else to say it. Just do your fucking job at the end of the day. All right. I mean, because if not, it's only a matter of time before I, myself, or somebody like me is going to be in your customer's ear hoping for you to fuck up. All right. Because that's how you get in the door with shippers, you guys. It's based on the fact that they had repeated service failures or communication failures or whatever that looks like. And then they're going to reply. And if it's me that they reply to, it's only a matter of time before I will fucking take all your freight. All right. That's the reality of the real world, ladies and gentlemen. If you're fucking up, it's only a matter of time before a better provider gets in your customer's ear and they will eventually take your book of business from you because you're not willing to pick up the phone and do your fucking job. Huh. So that's what I would do, my friend who chatted me about improving carrier retention. I know that that's probably not all the answer that you were looking for, but I can't put it any other way. But there's a major opportunity for you to go out there and get some market share based on just doing the right thing. Flo, good morning. Stephen Tittle, good morning. Q&A day Friday. He says, Katie McDermott, good to see you. Nick says, spot on, find and deliver those solutions. Eric Ransom, happy Friday, my man. Katie McDermott says, taking the time to build relationships is super important, but how does a broker find the time to do so in such a competitive market? All right. So I look at it like this, Katie. It's always going to be competitive out there, no matter whatever market that you're working in. But I think that you find time to do that because it's the right thing to do, right? Like at the end of the day, I want it to be extremely seamless for my carriers and my customers to work with me. I want to take the time to work. No, it's all good, Katie. You're a viewer of my show. Any questions you guys have about the industry? I mean, I don't know about any Nostradamus stuff or anything like that, but I will answer anybody's question that they have about the transportation industry. I think that you need to make the time because nobody's that busy at the end of the day. Nobody's that busy to build a relationship with somebody, to make sure that they have everything that they need to do the shipments, to pick up the loads, to do all of that. From my perspective, you have the time. You make the time. You go in there and make sure that you are building relationships with your carriers and your customers. I will argue that it is more important to have relationships with carriers than it is customers. And now I know what anybody about there would say about that. But at the end of the day, if you don't have trucks to pick up the freight, you don't have a business. So you make the time, you make sure that they have everything that they need to be successful. The amount of people that withhold information is shocking to me. It truly is. If you're that concerned that somebody's going to steal your customer, like I was saying earlier, it's only a matter of time before I cold call them or cold email them, or some of my friends who tune in on this show will, and then they'll just take your business from you. So, Robert Bain, what is up? I came in and Chris is ripping it hard. What a way to get Friday started. Appreciate you, my guy. Robert's literally the strongest man in freight, FYI, if you guys didn't know about that. And yes, it is one of your customer bases, Robert. I couldn't agree more. I wanted to bring up, so Adam Wingfield's been on my show a bunch of times, and he hasn't been on recently because he's busy. I miss him, and I hope he's listening right now because I was texting him that I was going to use his post from today. And hopefully I'll get him on here soon. He had put this up earlier today, and you guys need to check it out, but I'm going to read it for you because I couldn't agree more with what he had said here. He said, I shared this sentiment on Twitter the other day, but I need to bring it back to the top of the line. I've listened to several spaces over the past few days, and what I will say is that as a business owner, understanding the fact that other businesses do not have to support slash cater to you as a business owner. You are not forced to do business with anyone you don't want to, and it goes the other way around at too. The way to build your trucking business is to create differentiation and elevate yourself amongst your peer group. A trucking company is a business. It requires a business-minded approach and controllable actions. Sure, there are currents and regulations that make the business challenging. However, it is important to navigate around why you as an operator can immediately control. You can't control the price at the fuel pump, but you can control consumption and the station you select. This is how free enterprise will always work. There are organizations out there that are promising a lot of empty changes and are taking money from people in the process. I can't speak for Adam because I don't know what he was referring to about organizations with empty promises, but I have a couple of ideas on what I see out there in the market from some of these advocacy groups. Ironically, they only come around to drum up their base, right? That's really all that they do. They don't talk about it when the market's flipped and everything else. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about what Adam mentioned here and why I couldn't agree more with what he had said. As a business owner, understanding the fact that other businesses do not have to support or cater to you as a business owner. You are not forced to do business with anybody you don't want to, and it goes the other way. This post hit me because of what I was saying the other day. Nobody owes you shit because you started a business. All right. Nobody owes you anything. You have to fight so hard to get freight and to get customers and to get repeat customers on top of that, that there's a false sense of reality in this industry. And it all stems from the last couple of years. I saw another post this morning about this as well. I look at it like this. People thought when it was easy that it would always remain easy. And nobody planned for the fact that things were going to change. Nobody thought that that was going to happen to them, that it was going to happen to everybody else because they thought that they could go in there and tell customers what to do and that they would just have to deal with it. Because that's kind of what happened in 2021 and 2022, right? Customers were desperate to ship out freight. People got a little bit of leverage and they over leveraged that during that time. And then on top of that, now everybody's crying foul, right? And I'm not saying that it's easy because it's not easy out there. It's very challenging to build a business, but what are you going to do about it at the end of the day? Are you going to go to social media and complain that it's challenging? Or are you going to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I need to change if I want different results? I would always start at the reflection in the mirror because you can't control the economy. You can't control the freight market. You can't control fuel prices. You can't control if somebody at the warehouse called in sick that day and now they're delayed. What can you control? All right. That's what you need to focus on in business. And then you need to look at it and build a process. All right. And when you build that process, you need to work with that, but you need to refine that process. Okay. Because everything's out of your control except for what you can do to grow your business. And you have a lot more control over that than a lot of people want. But people run into some challenging times. And I've been there, right? Like I've been there. I'm bootstrapping fucking everything, you guys. I don't have investors. I don't have a golden parachute to rely on. I got to figure this shit out every single day. And guess what? That's what you signed up for the day you decided I'm going to start my own business and go for it on my own. It's not easy. All right. It's not easy. It is so fucking challenging out there in any market. This isn't a trucking specific thing. Every market is challenging. Every market is cutthroat. It's called a free market for a reason. But the beauty of it is, all right, again, control your controllables, like my friend Adam said in this post. How can you do the opposite of what everybody's doing? You guys, the bar is extremely low out there, right? If you spend 5 seconds on any form of social media in today's day and age, and I know the irony of the fact that this show is streamed on social media platforms, and I appreciate you guys all taking the time out of your day. And if you're on this platform right now, make sure you subscribe and share the show. But back to what we're talking about. If you're on social media in today's day and age, did you notice how misery loves company? Did you notice how there is a small fraction of people actually posting valuable content that people can put into their business, but there is a plethora of mindless, derogatory, and just complaining content out there? Because I see that every time I pull up social media. That's why I'm literally on there for probably less than 30 minutes a day now because of that, because I can't fucking tolerate it. All right. Because everything that people complain about, they can control and fix, but they don't want to because they don't think they're the problem. That is the news flash, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not getting the desired results you want in business, it's your fault. It's nobody else's fault. Yeah, the market sucks. I mean, how many people start business in challenging markets and become very, very successful? A lot, actually. But you got to fight through it. And you got to stop looking at it as it's just everybody else's fault. No, it's your fault. Okay. If you want to see difference in your business or your book of business or whatever that looks like, you got to look at yourself in the mirror. There's a lot more inside of your control, and it starts with you, your process, and what you're doing every single day out there to try and get it. I just like, yeah, I'm just, Katie says process. Now you're speaking my language. You guys, I just like, my tolerance for what I see out there and knowing, and I think why it bothers me so much. And here's the truth. This is why it bothers me so much. Because that's the way I used to think. All right. That's the way I used to think. That's the way I used to process everything. It was always victim mentality. It's everybody else's fault. Everybody else's fault. It's not Chris. My own arrogance didn't allow me to think that way. It's everybody else's fault. It's never Chris's fault. It got at the point in time, though, that I had to stop fucking drinking my own Kool-Aid. I had to stop with all my own bullshit because you know how to feed yourself better than anybody, whether it's excuses, whatever that looks like. You know how to do it better than everybody else. And it's really easy to sit there and blame everybody else for the issues that you have in your business. But, at the end of the day, you guys can all change it if you want. Nobody's going to come and save you. All right. If you want to see a difference, do it. And one more thing too. If you're out there tagging companies in a post to bitch about them, you know how fucking bad you look? That's another thing. So if I'm on a little bit of a rant, I'm going to continue with this rant. The amount of people I see tagging companies to complain about them on social media, do you think that's going to gain you business? Honestly, ask yourself that. The next time you want to bitch and moan about what somebody's doing out there and you want to tag them in it, ask them how that's going to benefit your business. Ask them how a potential customer is going to perceive that if they fall on your post and see you bitching and moaning about how somebody else's shit's not working and now I can't do my job. I mean, come on, you guys. Mark my words. You can use this as a receipt. If anybody ever works for me and I see them post that way, I'll fire them on the fucking spot. That is like, it is absolutely ridiculous to me. Let me see. Bill Robinson, good to see you. Says facts, truth. Market is tough for all industry. Well said, Chris. I appreciate you, man. Robert Bain says you use too much logic. Are you a witch, sir? Robert. Anthony Jimenez, what's up, bro? He says, love the message. It's your own fault. I appreciate you guys. And again, you guys can disagree with everything I say. I still want to hear from you too, right? Because I think that's how conversations are supposed to be had out there in today's day and age. Oh, hold on. We got an overdimensional quote that came in here, you guys. I'm going to have to work on this here. Ooh, let me see here. Let's go. Let's go. I got to end the show right now, you guys, because I got freight to move. Josh Breeze. He says, More Than Champs Freight Coach Arena is full again this Friday. Anyway, we can extra nachos up. Yeah, dude, I always got extra nachos for you, my man. Dude, Josh, I'm such an inner fatty at heart. I want nachos now. I'm on day like 68 to 75 hard. I can't see that stuff, man. I can't see that stuff. We'll eat nachos though later, I promise. But I got to get back at it, you guys. I got freight to cover. I got freight to quote. As always, you guys, thank you guys so much for your guys' support in all of this. If you guys get value in what you hear, do me a favor, you guys, subscribe to the show, share it out there to your network. That's how we grow. Yes. But most importantly, this is how we can reach more people and help more people, is because if you saw value, your network's going to see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.